Dear friends, this Shabbat we'll be reading the Torah portion of Lech Lecha. This is the first portion in the Torah that really delves into the life of the Jewish people. Actually, the first Jews, Abraham and Sarah, before we were a people, when they were just individuals, two individuals who believed in God and accepted to follow the ways of God. Even before there was Judaism, there was a Jewish people. Before it was in style, before it was even accepted by most people, as most people in that time were idol worshippers. And we find something very fascinating about Avram and Sarah. And that is that in most of his travels and things that he did, there was a third party in the group. And that was Lot, his nephew. Lot, though he was with Abraham, he wasn't made of the same character. He wasn't someone who was God-fearing in that sense like Abraham. He wasn't someone who wanted to make sure he did everything right. He, like many of the people of his time, was cutting corners, stole when he felt it's all right to steal, break the law when he felt he was good for him. He wasn't this pristine characteristic of Abraham and Sarah and what they exemplified. And yet, we find how Abraham always included him. Abraham made him part of his family, took care of him in the best way. Until one point, when Lot's people around him started to behave with their cattle in a way that was not befitting of Abraham, and it became an issue, a public issue, out there in the streets, where people were mixing up Abraham and Lot together as one. And now they were saying whatever Lot was doing is reflective of Abraham, and this is the way Abraham behaves. At that point, Abraham made a line in the sand. And Abraham told Lot, as much as I love you and I care for you, and I'll always be there for you, I'll always have your back, I'll never be too far. But there's a line that was crossed. And as it's affecting my people, my atmosphere, my family, and all the relationships I have with people around me who I'm trying to bring closer to God, it's affecting all of them. I'm going to have to ask you to leave, to move where we don't live right next to each other. But I will never forget you, and I will always look out for you. And later he did. Abraham saved Lot when he was taken captive in the middle of a war that was going on. And this is a very important lesson that we learn from Abraham about our way to conduct ourselves as Jews. On one hand, we are open to help anybody. We're open to be there for people when they need. We have empathy, we have kindness, we have hospitality, we have generosity. But even with all of our openness and all of our willingness to help, there are lines where we cannot cross. And when a line is crossed, whether it is ideologically, when a line is crossed sometimes when it is in relationships to other people, there has to sometimes be put into place a distance. So it's clear to us, to our children, to those around us, and to our mission, that a line was crossed. So not with a vengeance, with an anger, and turning our back on someone. We still can show empathy and be there, but at the same time, we have to remove it so it doesn't become a cancer that plagues us. And that's the interesting thing that Jews had to always juggle with. Because on one hand, we live in the world with other people. People who may not agree with our way of life. They may not agree with our belief system. They may not agree with many of the ways we behave and our characteristic between one person and another. But we're always ready to share and to be together and work together. But if there is a line that's crossed where all of a sudden it's affecting me negatively, it's affecting my children negatively, it's pulling us away from our traditions, our beliefs, and our deep-seated behavior of how we're supposed to be as a Jew, then there is time for creating a line in the sand. And as long as we're always aware of this, we're able to be of the world, but yet not always from the world. We still keep to our deep-seated, long-held morals, values, mission, and guidance and direction from God. So may we all succeed in our mission and in our life. God bless you all. We love you all. Shabbat candlelighting time in Montreal, 5:50 p.m.